business continues. Now, did you know that we're left with 3 months to the end of the year 2021? I know a number of you do know, but of course we are in the month of September. That is the 9th month of the year. The question is, however, have you reached onto your visions? Have you actually tapped into the things that you set on board to work on or to work on when the year started? Because every new year comes with new aspirations, where someone comes and you've targeted something and you're like, you know, by the end of this year I want a new house, by the end of this year I need a new car, by the end of this year I want to have set up this particular business, at the end of this year I need to have accomplished this and this. So with 3 months to go, just check yourself if the aspirations or what you did have, did it come to pass, or it is yet to come to pass? Or are you still waiting for a new year 2022 to actually make new goals and aspirations? Or look at the targets and clearly see if 2022 is your year. Like as I always said, if this is your year, then take it on. This is my year, take it on. Or 2022 is your year. Nevertheless, we're left with 3 months to go to the end of the year. All right, now, business owners in Uganda are actually doubting on the success of the Myoga, as a number of them have actually not benefited greatly in regards to these particular funds. Now, a number of the beneficiaries have not received these funds, and the ones that have actually received less the money that they thought they would receive in regards to the businesses that they wanted to actually facilitate or rejuvenate. In regards to this particular one, we do have a special report in regards to this particular situation of the Myoga funds. Take a look. We'll be right back. In 2019, from a Lunyankore dialect, Myoga, an initiative to actually give out funds to Ugandans, was established by President Yoweri Museveni. The biggest question was, however, how were the policies going to benefit the Ugandans in terms of the funds, and also to move them and help them out in terms of their businesses? This comes out as a question to many Ugandans out there who are crying foul to the government for not receiving from the Myoga funds by the president. Glaring flaws in the implementation of government's Myoga program have come to light a few months after its rollout. Launched in July last year, the Myoga program, in which the government has so far injected 260 billion Ugandan shillings, seeks to enable Ugandans in the informal sector to boost their household incomes by growing their small businesses. According to Ms. Joanita Nasuna, a program associate, Women and Economic Justice at Seatini, Uganda, Myoga was an initiative by the president to instill a saving culture among MSMEs, and their money was allocated to the Microfinance Support Center.
Myoga was a wealth and job creation fund that was put in place by the president of Uganda to support small businesses, micro, small and medium enterprises, to remain afloat. However, Myoga is a seed capital that instills a saving culture among the MSMEs. So Myoga, after being a presidential initiative through Ministry of Finance, was allocated to Microfinance Support Center. Microfinance Support Center received approximately 290 billion shillings to support the micro businesses to remain afloat the COVID-19 pandemic. So the impacts on these businesses were quite versatile, and so the government thought of the already programs that were in place and recapitalized them. So Myoga was a recapitalized program, and later it became a stimulus fund. So now Myoga now changed from being a seed capital to now our stimulus fund.
Myoga, which was a seed capital, turned into a stimulus fund for SMEs. However, a number of conditions were set before receiving the fund, something that has left many people that were said to benefit from this to stay far from what was promised.
Associations in your constituency. For example, now I am in Tinda. There is a constituency which is Naguru 1. You can have an association from Naguru 1. There is Naguru 2, and then there is also Ntinda. So you come together and form a SACCO. You should be from these different parishes, these different constituencies to form a SACCO. So those, after forming a SACCO, these associations coming together, they take their applications to the district CDOs to be able to qualify them. Now, when they get to these district CDOs, now they are given a training to prepare them to access the EMIOGA. But this training is mainly for them to form leaders. They should have a treasurer, they should have a chairperson, and they should have an assistant treasurer. So, and a secretary. So when a SACCO forms the leaders, now it will be these leaders continuing with the processes. SACCOs should get a certificate from Ministry of Trade to qualify them. Now, Ministry of Trade will send some of its administrators on ground to look at these businesses. Are they ghost businesses or are they actually there? So after they have been able to have a holistic monitoring of all these businesses and qualifying them, now they will release certificates. Remember, Ministry of Trade has to inspect 400 businesses to be able. So now that process is where now the lengthy and stringent process comes in. Some of the people since October 2020 had money disbursed on their accounts already, and they were able to save the 10 million shillings. However, they have again not qualified for the certificates from Ministry of Trade.
A few that received the funds want government to increase the seed capital to boost their respective programs, but the procedures have become overwhelming. For instance, the Katikamo North constituency Produce Dealers SACCO is overwhelmed by the number of groups that want to benefit from 30 million shillings seed capital. Meanwhile, Mr. Dennis Odungpini, the Gulu Resident City Commissioner, said only 36 out of 482 groups have been certified to receive the funds. Of these, only 9 groups have gained access to the money, as Ms. Carolina Alaroca, the regional sub-coordinator for EMIOGA in Acholi sub-region, said many groups have failed to access the funds due to procedural irregularities. Is 30 million enough for all the SACCOs in the country per constituency, or is 30 million enough to cater for the problems that are prevailing in Uganda's economy to all the traders in Uganda? That is among the questions that is among the traders in the country, and which the president is yet to address regarding the EMIOGA funds in Uganda. The biggest question is, however, by 2025, will this have alleviated poverty in Uganda? Because the pandemic has actually caused a number of cases in terms of economy crises, not only in Uganda, but among others. But with the EMIOGA fund on board, if it is well alleviated, will it actually help Ugandans to come out of the poverty line? Joram Paul Sonko, Smart 24. Now, regarding to stories coming in from EMIOGA, Mr. Dennis Odogpini, that is the Gulu resident city commissioner, said only 36 out of 482 groups have been certified to receive the funds. And of these, only 9 groups have gained access to the money, as Mrs. Carolina Alaroca, who is the regional coordinator for EMIOGA in Mr. Dennis Odogpini, said that many groups have failed to access the funds due to procedure irregularities in regards to that particular aspect of EMIOGA. And if we're to also mention a few of that have actually received the money, want government to increase the seed capital to boost their respective programs, but the procedures that have been laid on board are still challenging and have become overwhelming. For instance, the Katikamo North constituency Produce Dealers SACCOs is overwhelmed by the number of groups that want to benefit from the 30 million shilling seed capital. Has actually been one of the biggest questions. Is 30 million worth seed capital really enough for the number of SACCOs in a constituency? If we are to take, for instance, because 30 million would definitely not benefit a number of them, because the number of SACCOs are instituted into those constituencies and a number of people again in those constituencies, posing bigger questions and giving a gap of a brighter picture of how EMIOGA funds are definitely going to be benefiting these particular Ugandans. Now, leaving that in that particular aspect, why don't we head into one of the things that have also been making headlines in regards to the Kampala City Traders Association. Now, because the Ministry of Trade actually came out on the 1st of September to actually, that is the Trade Minister, Honorable Ntambazi Harriet, on behalf of the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative, together with Kasita Traders, did agree to call off the traders' strike demonstrations that were earlier called on by Kasita because of their grievances that they have, among which was the taxes in regards to the government's aspect of it, and also the rent areas that have not, the issue of rent that has not been addressed by the government. Now, in a meeting that held at the ministry offices, attended by the Minister of Finance, resolved the issue of heavy taxation on textile, fabric and garments in that regard. So we do have some of the pictures that actually did take place in regards to some of the arcades that were closed down as the traders were going on strike in regards to that particular demonstration that was set on course by Kasita. Now, we do have some of those pictures and clearly showing what was actually taking place in Kampala City and how the traders were actually, if I am to ask my producer to actually give us what has actually been making headlines, and one of those footages that were trending in regards to the strikes and the demonstrations that were being laid on board by the traders there. Now, in a meeting that held at the ministry offices and was attended by the Ministry of Finance, resolved that issues of heavy taxation on textile, fabric and garments, which was successfully resolved the matters that would be halted for the operationalization of 3.5 kilograms of 3.5 US dollars on per kilogram that was actually put on board because of the taxation. And then Honorable Harriet Ntambazi therefore called upon all the traders to go and clear their containers which were stored in their respective bonds. So I would want my producer to actually show us some of these particular pictures of these traders, all the scenes that were actually prevailing during the course of the strikes and the demonstrations there, as the footages that was actually making rounds across the city, as most of these particular people were on strike, mainly traders under the Kasita, which is the Kampala City Traders Association. So clearly, as you could definitely see, that most of them went on strike. The arcades were closed down. This was the strike regarding situations of the fact that these traders are being demanded money for rent, yet most of them were not working during that time. We've been having all these stories running on course with the fact that most of them were sending out their grievances in regards to the fact that they are being demanded money for certain months, yet most of them were locked down in the different areas in regards to that. So you could clearly see that these particular traders were airing out their grievances, which has actually brought on board the Ministry of Trade to actually come through and take center stage in regards to that. And these traders went on strike to see that the government takes off some of these taxes in that particular scenario. And of course, now we're actually going to have Mr. Sechito, the PR Kasita, who is actually going to give us more on the details in regards to that. We're going to be having him on Zoom to actually tell us more in regards to that. Mr. Sechito.
We stood here and declared that if it goes beyond the 31st of August, the traders that dealing in textile and garments, and their matter is not handled, there would be a demonstration, a peaceful demonstration, starting on the 1st of September, which is tomorrow. We have had engagements with all the responsible authorities, Kampala Minister, Minister of Trade, Minister of Finance, Uganda Revenue Authority, and all authorities as we recognize and know them. We have, according to us, justifiably told them the importance of not levying taxes in kilos for items that we value and buy in pieces. Therefore, because the ministry and the government has not heard to our call of one, allowing importers of garments clear their outstanding stock on the old regime as one, and two, the government stopping forthwith the clearance of garments and textiles in kilos, we are starting the peaceful demonstration tomorrow, 1st of September 2021. In this demonstration, we don't want to force anyone. We are calling upon every business person to know that today it is me, tomorrow it is you. And therefore, if you feel there is a concern, join us. If you feel you are not concerned, you are free. Nobody is going to force you. We are calling upon the business community to remain peaceful when they close their businesses. Don't touch people's goods. Don't disturb their peace. Let people that are affected, let people that feel that tomorrow they are victims. We have so many challenges ranging from rental payments for periods you have not worked, interest rates that have accumulated, and losing collateral like we didn't want it, among other things. Therefore, we shall not allow the government, for which we can explain and we justifiably get a win-win situation, just to be adamant the way they are. We have been told that some items have been removed from the kilos and left for the import duties, which is ad valorem rates as contrasted with the specific rates. But we are saying this is a way of promoting corruption by allowing the officer to decide where I fall. Therefore, it is very meaningful and economical for the ministry and the URA to understand that we should charge taxes according to the WTO GATT Valuation Agreement and according to Schedule 4 of the East African Customs Management Act, which stipulates clearly how taxes are payable for imported items, particularly garments and textiles. Importing approaches that need to breed impunitism and bringing out bad laws is not something that the business community is going to entertain. We have explained, we are still explaining, but people are losing out. The demurrages, there are goods in Mombasa, there are goods here in Kampala, there are goods everywhere. And therefore, we can no longer wait, we can negotiate while we close in peace and protest for government to know we are really afflicted, we are really dented, we are really damaged, and there is no more business down.
All right, now earlier on I did call for Mr. Sechito, the PR of Casita. I was not calling him on Zoom. I was actually calling in for that particular footage, but the clearance of how I was actually introducing in that particular footage was a bit poorly phrased, if I am to put it in that way. But meanwhile, that is Mr. Sechito, that is the PR Casita, as he was actually giving this particular address prior to the time of the strike, as we are heading into the strike. Now, meanwhile, as you could clearly see that he was giving his address in regards to these grievances that the traders are facing in Kampala. And the day after that particular address, presser to the media, this is what we're definitely going to show you some of the footages, the footage, and also some of the scenes that were actually seen in Kampala after that particular address. That is on the during the 1st of August. That is during the 1st of September 2021, when these traders actually came together to go on strike because they are facing quite similar grievances. Take a look at some of these particular scenes and we'll be right back. Some of those particular scenes that we're seeing here on some of those particular scenes coming in from Kampala city, that is the capital in Uganda there, some of which include the traders that had to close down their shops. Remember, into the address of the Kasita PR, it was calling on these particular traders to go on strike in regards to the fact that the government is not considering and also putting account what they actually addressing to them, because they did give them a 2 weeks referendum to actually see that within 2 weeks certain things are supposed to be done. However, this did not happen, and the government did not lay on board cases concerning that. So they decided to go on strike by closing down their different shops, the different arcades, as you can clearly see on your screens over there. So some of those things, or some of the things that are still prevailing in terms of the traders coming out with their grievances to the government, and among which we are actually mentioning about the taxes that were being waived. That is a 3.5 kilogram, that is $1 per product in regards to the textile, the people who are dealing in the textile industry or the textile sector, which regards the garments, and some of them actually claiming that is too much on them. Well, the government did actually put this on board in regards to making sure that they promote the boo-boo, but at the expense of affecting these business owners, all these traders dealing in these particular garments, more so the ones that are imported. Also mentioning of the fact that many of them are having claims in terms of the times that their landlords are not giving them time to actually pay off their rent areas that they have not yet cleared. Because remember, in a 2 month they were under the lockdown, and most of them were not working. Clearly, some of those issues, those key issues that made sure that these particular traders go on to strike, and of which the Ministry of Trade did have to come into this particular situation to calm down these traders, to make sure that the government will come to intervene and prosperity prevails in terms of how the government mitigates this particular issue regarding the Kampala City Traders over there under their umbrella union, the Kampala City Traders Association, which is Kasita over there in Kampala. Now, following that particular story, we are yet to establish more in regards to that. But after the break, we will definitely be having an exclusive 5-minute, an exclusive 5-minute interview with one of the key players in the sector in regards to the Kampala City Traders over there, and he'll be giving us a clear picture of this particular strike and also what we do expect from the Ministry of Trade's intervention in regards to this particular demonstration from Kasita. For now, we take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Smart 24, driving business.